There's a city in Florida where the streets were laid out before the United States existed, before the Constitution, before the Revolution, before any of it. The bones of the city, the narrow lanes, the walled courtyards, the plazas, were engineered for human feet because horses and carriages were a luxury, not a given. And here's the thing, those streets still work. You don't have to imagine what a walkable city looks like. You can just go walk it. USA Today's 10 Best is running their annual Most Walkable City to Visit campaign right now. 20 cities are nominated. Readers vote once a day through June the 15th. And one of those 20 cities is the oldest in the country. This is the Gallivanter Podcast. I'm Chad, and today we're making the case for St. Augustine. So let's start with what USA Today is actually doing here. The 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards aren't a random internet poll. A panel of travel experts nominates 20 cities based on specific criteria: pedestrian accessibility, proximity of hotels and attractions, and overall ease of getting around without a car. Then they open it to public voting. 1 vote per day per person until noon on June the 15th. The top 10 get announced on June 24th. The award has been handed out for several years now. Philadelphia has won it 3 times running. Center City, Philly is genuinely exceptional. But the list has never been static. St. Augustine has placed as high as 4th overall in previous years, and this year the city is back in the running alongside Key West, Miami, and 17 other nominees from across the country. USA Today's own description of St. Augustine in this year's campaign reads like this: the pedestrian-friendly streets of St. Augustine have a European feel, with many neighborhoods chock full of easy-to-reach restaurants, entertainment options, and shops, whether you're staying uptown or by the beach. That's the official nominee language, and as someone who has spent a considerable amount of time in the city, I'll tell you it undersells the place, but we'll get to that. The campaign link is in the show notes. Go vote. Vote every day until June the 15th. Now let's talk about why this isn't even a close call. Philadelphia winning this award 3 consecutive years is impressive, but it also illustrates what walkability means at scale. A major metropolitan center with a dense grid, world-class transit, and a critical mass of attractions per square mile. That's one model of walkability, a very good one. But there's another model, and it's actually older. St. Augustine was founded in 1565 by the Spanish. That's 55 years before Plymouth Rock. The city's layout was drawn from Spanish colonial urban planning principles, the laws of the Indies, which mandated a central plaza, a surrounding grid, and human-scaled streets designed for foot traffic in a subtropical climate. Shade, water, proximity. The city wasn't built for cars. It was built for people by design 4.5 centuries ago. That's not a talking point. That's a physical fact you can verify with your own feet. The historic core of St. Augustine scores an 85 out of 100 on standard walkability metrics. Hotels, restaurants, attractions, and landmarks are compressed into a remarkably small footprint. The Castillo de San Marcos, a 17th century coquina fortress, is visible from nearly every approach to downtown. Flagler College occupies a building so grand it once hosted some of America's most wealthy families as the Hotel Ponce de Leon. The old Spanish Quarter, the Cathedral Basilica, the Plaza right in the middle of town. These aren't spread across a metropolitan area. They're within a few blocks of each other. The compact geography is not an accident. It's the inheritance of a planning philosophy that prioritized human movement over everything else. Philadelphia built that same principle into its grid in the 17th century. St. Augustine had it before Philadelphia was even a colony. That's the argument. Not that one city is better than the other, but that if the metric is walkability built into a city's DNA, St. Augustine has been doing this longer than anyone. Now let's just get down to the nitty-gritty, because walkable is only meaningful if we can map it to actual streets and actual places. I want to cover both the places every visitor finds and the places most of them miss. Let's start with St. George Street and the historic downtown. This is the front door, and it earns its reputation. St. George Street is a pedestrian-only corridor running through the center of the historic district. No cars, just foot traffic, storefronts, galleries, and a built environment that looks like it belongs in Seville. The street runs from the Old City Gate, a pair of 18th century coquina pillars marking the original northern entrance to the colonial city, down to the Plaza near the bayfront. The blocks immediately surrounding St. George Street contain most of what first-time visitors come to see. The oldest wooden schoolhouse, the Colonial Quarter Living History Museum, dozens of restaurants and independent shops. It's the expected route, and it's expected because it delivers. Aviles Street. Aviles Street is the oldest street in the United States by documented record, laid out by the Spanish and the colonial period. Today it runs past art galleries, a couple of well-regarded restaurants, and some of the oldest building foundations in the city. The foot traffic here is a fraction of what you'll find on St. George, but the architecture is just as dense. If you're the kind of traveler who wants to walk the same ground that Spanish soldiers and Franciscan monks walked in the 1600s, Aviles Street is where you do that. The Bayfront and Matanzas waterfront. Walking east from the plaza brings you to the Bayfront seawall along the Matanzas River. The view across to Anastasia Island is wide and unobstructed. The seawall walk, which is currently under renovations, is flat, shaded in places, and connects the Castillo grounds to the Bridge of Lions in either direction with no interruption. It's one of the longest unbroken pedestrian stretches in downtown, and a lot of visitors walk one section of it without realizing the whole corridor is open to them. Lincolnville. This is the neighborhood most tourists walk right past without walking through, and that's a loss. Lincolnville sits just southwest of the historic district, spanning 45 blocks on the peninsula. It was established in 1866 by formerly enslaved people after the Civil War, and it was a designated National Historic District in 1991. The neighborhood's architecture ranges from shotgun houses and Victorian bungalows to more imposing late 19th century residential structures, many of them marked with historical plaques identifying former residents who shaped not just the neighborhood, but the city itself. Lincolnville was a central battleground during the civil rights movement in St. Augustine in the early 1960s. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. organized demonstrations here, sit-ins at lunch counters downtown, and wait-ins at the beach drew national attention. The Lincolnville Museum and Cultural Center documents that history in a building that is itself worth the walk. The self-guided walking tour through the neighborhood passes homes, churches, and community gathering places that carry that entire arc of American history in a few walkable blocks. Most people staying in the historic district could walk to Lincolnville in 10 minutes. Very few of them do. Uptown, the San Marcos district. Head north from the city gate and you're in a different register of the same city. The Uptown district, centered on San Marcos Avenue, runs north from the edge of downtown toward the Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park. The pace here changes. You're past the concentrated tourist corridor into a neighborhood of locally owned coffee shops, boutiques, antique dealers, and residential blocks lined with Victorian and colonial revival homes. The Abbott Tract, embedded within Uptown, is one of St. Augustine's most architecturally cohesive historic neighborhoods. Houses from the late 1800s and early 1900s on quiet streets that still carry the scale of the era they were built in. The Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park sits at the north end of this corridor, and while the attraction itself is debatable as history, the grounds mark the actual site of a Native American village that Ponce de Leon encountered in 1513. The walk to get there from downtown along San Marcos is one of the better quiet walks in the city. King Street. King Street is the city's arts and nightlife corridor. Galleries, independent restaurants, a live music venue or two. It doesn't have the architectural density of St. George Street or the historical weight of Lincolnville, but it functions the way a neighborhood commercial street should. Locally owned, walkable, and lively without being manufactured. It moves at a pace that rewards walking slowly. You can walk the city from the Castillo to Lincolnville to Uptown and back in a single afternoon and cover 5 centuries of American history. The voting link is at 10best.usatoday.com. Once a day through June 15th. St. Augustine has made this list before. This year, let's put it at the top.